Hello again. Okay, so on the third week of online classes, what we're going to do is be working on the final itself. Okay, so we're putting together the final itself, but what I'm having you do is do it paragraph by paragraph, okay, so that you're not too overwhelmed with what you're doing. It's very important that you keep in mind with writing a final is that during the final process, if we were doing this in class, you would not be able to do any writing outside of class time at all. Okay, so you couldn't go home and write it and bring it in with you. All right, you're not supposed to practice writing the final outside of class time, and you do not get proofreading. Okay, so you're not going to be turning any of these things in yet. I will tell you when you need to turn it in. But anything that I'm going to be talking about in this video is not going to be turned in as of yet. You will keep it and you will continue building on it over the next couple of days, and then it will be turned in sometime next week, okay? So again, we're going to be working on the final essay, and then you're going to continue building on the document, but you are not going to be turning it in yet. So the third week of online classes stretches from June 12th through June 16th, and this is basically what you need to do. So for Monday, June 12th, you need to set up a Word document in MLA formatting, okay? So you need to make sure that you're double spacing, you're using Times New Roman 12-point font, you have 1-inch margins, that your last name and page number are in the upper right-hand corner, but they're hidden on the first page. And then in the upper left-hand corner, you should have your name, my name, the course, and the date. Remember, when you're writing the date in MLA formatting, you're going to put the day, then the month, then the year, okay? So, after you have set up that Word document in MLA formatting, which is also going to be double spaced, you are going to write a paragraph that tells, one, what a fairy tale is, okay? So basically you're going to talk about how a fairy tale is a short story that usually deals with folklore, okay? And that it usually demonstrates the cultural beliefs or practices of the culture where it was written, and it usually has a moral, okay? So that's basically what you're going to tell us, only in your own words. Then the second thing you need to have in that paragraph is what the fairy tale tells us about where it was created, which I actually already told you, that it talks about the cultural practices or beliefs, okay? And it's trying to get a moral across. So we kind of learn about the morals of that culture and maybe some of their values. The third thing you need to have is what fairy tales you'll be discussing. So you're going to be discussing the version of the Three Little Pigs that's included in the final instructions document, okay? That version is titled The Story of the Three Little Pigs, and it's by Joseph Jacobs. So you're going to say that you're going to be talking about two versions of the Three Little Pigs. The first version that you're going to talk about, or one of the versions you're going to be talking about, is The Story of the Three Little Pigs by Joseph Jacobs, and your own version. But you're not going to say my own version, because you cannot use first or second person in this essay. So you're going to say the other version I will be discussing is, and then say the title, and then you're going to say by, and then say your first and last name, okay? Talk about yourself as though in the third person, okay? So you're going to then state that that version is by your first and last name, okay? And then you need to have a thesis statement. Make sure that your thesis statement has these three things. Your thesis statement is going to say that you're looking over two different versions of the Three Little Pigs, and you're going to be talking about the similarities and the differences between those two versions, okay? Similarities and differences between those two versions, and you're going to discuss how you're going to discuss one of the versions and what you can tell about the author from that version, okay? So that's your third thing. You're going to be talking about similarities and differences between the two versions, and you're going to talk about what one of the versions, which will be your version, tells the reader about your culture, okay? So those are the three things that should be in your thesis statement. That's your homework for June 12th. Then on June 14th, you were supposed to write your first two body paragraphs, okay? These body paragraphs, I'm giving you a word limit. That way we know for sure you're going to meet the minimum, okay? So for June 14th, your first two body paragraphs should be 150 words each. The first body paragraph is going to be on similarities between both versions of the Three Little Pigs. The second body paragraph is going to be on the differences between both versions of the Three Little Pigs, okay? So that was your homework for June 14th. Then on June 16th, you are still going to build on the same Word document and write your third body paragraph. That third body paragraph describes what a reader can learn about you or your culture by reading your version of the Three Little Pigs. Again, it's very important that you do not use first or second person pronouns. You have to talk about yourself as though you're not you, okay? So you're going to say, like an example that I gave was, if I titled my version Three Muddy Hoosiers, I would say in Three Muddy Hoosiers by Carolyn Carpenter, you can learn, a reader can learn a lot about Carpenter by examining different things within her fairy tale. One of the things that you could learn is that she probably lives in Indiana, because in Indiana, people that live in Indiana call themselves Hoosiers, and she put Hoosier in the title. So you're going to talk about yourself in the third person, okay? And then that was your homework for June 16th. That covers the third week of online courses, okay? So again, I'm going to remind you that any of the work you did this week, it does not need to be turned in yet. Do not turn it in yet, okay? Because you usually do not get any proofreading over your stuff when you're writing the final. So I just want you to keep it for now, and then you'll turn it in sometime next week. So make sure that you have all everything that was assigned this week. Absolutely make sure that it's done. Because next week, I believe you're probably going to be turning everything in by Wednesday. Then I give you feedback, and then we'll go from there. But you need to make sure it's done, because this is your final. Everything you did this week is going to be turned in as your final. So make sure that it's done and that you're following the directions. You can always review this video. You can go back to Facebook and look at my posts for this week. You can go to your email and look at the emails I sent for this week. You can go to Canvas and look there as well if you're confused about any of the instructions, because they're all written out there as well. Also keep in mind that you can text me or call me if you're confused, because this is the final and I want to make sure that everybody does an awesome job. All right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold up here what you should have done day by day. And then I will, I guess, talk to you guys next week. All right? Okay, so thank you, and hopefully I've cleared up any confusions that you've had. But remember, you can always call or text me. Thanks.